All right. Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Today is Friday, and I don't know about for you, but for me, it's payday, and so that's one of the reasons that we do these live streams on Friday, just to add a little bit more to your payday. This is like a bonus to your payday, to come and to let's have a conversation about our money and some strategic things that we can do with our money. From time to time, we might talk about some mistakes that we've made, some lessons that we've learned, some scams that we've avoided, whatever it is. But it's payday. And so let's have a little conversation about money today. And I'm so grateful to have my friend and brother, not biological brother, but my brother in this work and my brother in the faith as well, to talk about this conversation we're going to have today. And so I'm going to unmute his mic here. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to keep talking for a minute because I hope some more people join us live. Before you introduce yourself, I want them to hear your introduction live. And so if you are watching this on your Facebook or LinkedIn, share it live so that others can jump in here as well. I'm going to do that on my own. Here we go. Join us now. All right, I'm sharing it. And so, yeah, please share it with others so that they can jump in here and get this conversation live. It'll also stay up, as you know, if you are familiar with social media, you'll be able to see the recorded version as well. And so with that, let's jump into it. Oh, let me introduce myself. My name is Dallas Lanier. I'm the executive director and founder of Project Green. Green is the grassroots economic empowerment network. Our vision is turning everyday people into money heroes. And we describe a money hero as someone who is pursuing his or her own financial goals, and then they turn and help somebody else to do the same. So we do that with some of our financial capabilities workshops, where we're teaching people best practices for their own financial behaviors. And then we also do some economic advocacy. That's where we are looking at systems around us and how they impact our financial well-being. We're trying to remove the barriers that keep low to moderate income people from reaching their financial goals. And so all of that being said, I'm glad again to have my friend and brother Damon Drew on here today. And so Damon or Drew, however you want to introduce yourself, man, will you please tell us who you are and where you're joining us from and what you do professionally?
As he mentioned, first and foremost, I want to say thanks to you, Dallas, for allowing me to be here with you guys. Since I've connected with you guys several few years back, I've learned a lot about Project Green. I'm pretty impressed with the advocacy portion of what you do, the passion that you have also for helping everyday people to avoid some of the pitfalls, and not only just helping them avoid them, but also taking it to a legislative level and going to Lansing and trying to help change the systems that we know that's redlining and affecting us as a whole in our urban communities. But that being said, I want to, my name is Damon Drew. I'm a financial advisor currently with Prudential Advisors. I've been in the industry since 1997. I started my career with American Express Financial, and eventually American Express Financial became Ameriprise Financial. Over there, I spent about 15 years building my practice, where I had about, I'd say, 300 clients and about 30 million of assets under management. Then in 2013, I sold my book and was trying to find a different path for my life. And a buddy of mine came and invited me back into the industry. So here I am. So my passion is to help educate our community on their finances and preparing their stuff in the future. Quick story. This started when I was working for First Independence Bank. And by the way, I'm in Detroit, Michigan. But First Independence Bank is a Black-owned bank here in Detroit. And when I started working for them, I used to interact with the owner of the bank, CEO, Mr. Don Davis, who got his start in the music industry, and he opened the bank. But every time I would walk past Mr. Davis' office, Mr. Davis would have this long conference table, and he would have the Wall Street Journal, he would have the New York Times, he would have the USA Today, he'd have the Free Press. He had them all spread out before him. And every day I walked past, he'd be looking at his paper. And I asked him one day, I got real bold one day, and I said, Mr. Davis, why are you always looking in those papers when I come past your office? And he said something to me that I'd never heard in my life that just blew my mind. And he said, this is how I know my money is working for me. And I stopped and I paused because I'd never heard that before. All I ever heard was go to school, get an education, get a job, and work for money. I never heard anyone say your money should be working for you. So that changed my whole trajectory and began to make me think about things differently. And I wanted my children to know something about how to make money work for them. So every dollar that you have should have a job. And that's just the way I believe. So, and then it's not about just how much you make, but it's how much you get to keep, and being wise, making wise decisions with what you do. I tell people all the time, I'm cheap. If I can find a way to get down the road the same way, cheaper, I'm gonna take the cheapest route, long as it's decent quality. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't have to have the name brand and all this. So anyway, that's my passion. That's where I'm at, and that's what I like doing. So, and when I met Dallas because of a program that I broker, our company brokers, called D Free, and Dallas worked with Dr. Soares in out of New Jersey, who's the founder of D Free program, and it's a great program. So that's how he and I became connected, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity. So that being said, that's pretty much me, Matt.
Awesome.
Oh, let me say this, because if she's listening, I don't want any trouble. I'm a husband of wife of 40 years. We have 4 children and 3 grandchildren. So I want to make sure the wife she knows that I want to make sure I mention that. So anyway.
I was about to tee that up for you too. I was going to say, I know you're a family man, and that's as much your story as anything. I also am a husband, and we have 3 kids as well. So I salute you and all that you're doing personally and professionally. Man, as you were talking about Mr. Davis, and he said that he was checking on his money to making sure that that's how he knew that it worked for him. I was thinking, like, that's when you have employees, you have to check in with them too to make sure that they're working, right? So he was checking on his employees to making sure they understand, checking on all those dollar bills to make sure that they were working for him. So that's awesome. I'm familiar with First Independence as well, an organization that I lead here in Grand Rapids, the Black Impact Collaborative. When we started back in 2020, we were very intentional about opening our bank account with First Independence. So we drove all the way over to Detroit just to do that. Since then, we had to make some changes just for our own convenience, but we were very glad to have that account with them for over 5 years. So again, man, thank you for joining us in this conversation. And not only is today payday, but this is tax season. And so I was sharing with you, Damon, before we started, that on yesterday, I went to an event that was hosted by the Essential Needs Task Force here in Grand Rapids. And a lot of community leaders were there talking about that particular work and just networking. And as I was talking with one of my colleagues, Michelle, and she was talking about potential partnership between Project Green and the organization of which she's a part. And she said that a lot of her constituents are starting to get their tax refunds in, and she said they don't know what to do with them. And I just said, a big smile came on my face, because we had already scheduled this meeting to have this live stream to talk about that very thing. And so Michelle may be watching right now, or she may see this recorded, but she really just affirmed for me that this is a timely conversation for our communities, both there in Detroit as well as here in Grand Rapids and all across our state and beyond. But people are starting to get their tax refunds, and we want to help people to have maybe some better ideas for what they might do with it, versus what they've done in the past. And so to start us off on that conversation, you all can't see her on the screen, but our director of operations, Elena, did a little bit of research to help us to get some context of what tax refunds are looking like in our community. And so actually, the IRS national average refund, this was reported as of February 6, 2026, so just 2 weeks ago today, the average national refund was quoted at $2,290. $2,290 for the federal refund. And so, and then she looked further and discovered that the Michigan Department of Treasury reported that early 2025 data shows an average state refund of $1,039. So, if I was still a banker, I might be able to do this math in my head, but I'm gonna use my calculator now. 2290 plus 1,039 is $3,329. So the average Michigander, when they combine their federal and their state refund, could be getting about $3,329 in a refund. That's a significant amount of money. You know, that could be about 10% of a person's annual income just in this tax refund. And so then we look further to see what do surveys show that people are doing with their refund. And so thanks to Experian, they had actually done a survey, and I'm gonna see if I can pull this one up on the screen real quick. I didn't test this as we were preparing, so let's see how well I can do with it. That's not it. Here we go. Okay. Now I'm going to. This may not be the best visual, but we'll see how it works. All right, not too bad here. So I'm going to expand it a little bit, make it even easier to see. So this survey data from Experian, there we go, says, so they asked, I think it was about 1,000 participants, and about 31% of them said that they were going to save the tax refund. About 21% said they were going to pay down debt. Another 21% said everyday expenses and necessities. And then you see invest at 10%, splurge on something at 9%, home improvement 7%, and 3% said a major purchase. If we break that down by gender, men said about 25% of them said that they would save, and 12% said they would invest. So that's a combined 37% who said they would either save or invest. And then women, 37% said that they would save, and another 7% said that they would invest. So combined, that's 44% between saving and investing. So let's just start there for a minute, right? If there's this separation between saving and investing, but I wonder if we're familiar with the difference. So Damon, will you tell us, how do you define saving versus investing?
Well, there is a difference between saving and investing. Saving is putting your money into vehicles that typically, number one, you have accessibility. Number two, you have very minimal risk whatsoever. And then number three, that you're not concerned or worried about how it's performing. It's really low risk, a vehicle, savings, checking, money markets, things of that nature. And before I continue with the investment part, I need to put a disclaimer out that even though we're talking about what to do with your refund, we will mention some tax tax information. I am not a tax advisor. So anything that you say you have questions about from a tax perspective, you want to consult your tax advisor. I'm a financial advisor, so I'll talk to you about different investment strategies, what to do with the investment. So, but the investment piece is you want to put monies into vehicles that will hopefully outpace the rate of inflation, that will grow over time, that will give you a return. Now, they come with some risk. You have individual stocks, you have mutual funds, you have electronic trading fund, we call ETFs. You have different variable annuities, things of that nature. Real estate, houses as well. There's a level of risk associated with all those investments. However, you want those to remain there over time so they can grow. If time being your biggest factor, you want them to run the gamut of time so that it can grow to what it needs to be. But savings is money that you have for emergencies or opportunities within the first 1 or 3 years of whatever your goal or objective is.
Awesome, thanks. So you listed a whole bunch of different investment tools, but then for savings, we wouldn't put our savings into ETFs and IRAs and all those things. Our savings should go into what type of accounts?
The savings, you definitely don't want to put those in there. First and foremost, as an advisor, the rule of thumb is first that you should have in an emergency fund, a no-touch savings account, you should have 3 to 6 months of your living expenses in a savings account, a no-touch, very low risk, accessible account. So that being said, the vehicles you utilize are your basic savings account. You have basic savings and you have high yield savings. You also you can utilize some checking account as well. You can utilize money market and you can utilize CDs in the basic savings account. These are very low risk to no risk accounts that will give you accessibility if life happens. For instance, your car breakdown. If you have enough money into a savings account, you go into that savings, pull the monies out and get your car fixed. If you don't have adequate savings, what you do if you don't have cash flow to do it, you use credit cards. And that's what you don't want to do if you can. So we want to avoid paying someone else interest in order to meet everyday needs. But the basic tools that you utilize are vehicles with your basic savings account, even high yield savings, money markets, CDs. Those are your base, and even your checking.
That's awesome, man. Thank you. Yeah, and I like that phrase that you use. You said low risk and no touch, right? So these are accounts that you should not be touching for everyday purchases, and so that's another reason that a CD would be good, right? A lot of those are time-based certificates of deposit. So if obviously, or at least you don't plan to use it in the next 6 months, you could at least maybe put half of your emergency savings into a CD so they can earn a little bit more interest than a regular savings. And you
absolutely
you said, your car breaks down. Well, for me in our household this week, it was our refrigerator. My wife woke me up a couple of days ago and she said, there's water on the floor in front of the refrigerator. And I popped up and I'm like, oh man, because water on the floor is never a good thing. And so I thought maybe it was just the ice maker that had gone out. And then I opened the freezer and it wasn't freezing. And one thing led to another. I called the manufacturer and they said, your refrigerator is too old. We don't have the parts anymore. So now we got a new refrigerator being delivered tomorrow. But as painful as that is, we did have the emergency savings set aside. So we don't have to, use any debt to pay for this unexpected expense. And if I can just add, as you know, one of the reasons that Project Green even exists is we started because of the issue of payday lending. We're trying to keep people away from payday lending and use really their own assets. That's the main goal. But in the meantime, even if you do need to borrow money, we want people to have fair lending options available to them. And ironically, as we're still heading into this conversation around tax refunds, one of the ways that people are finally able to get out of the payday loan cycle is to use their tax refund to pay it off.
Hmm.
So, that's another thing that we want people to not have to do with their tax refund is to pay off payday loans. And so, if we can build up assets and we can build up savings, then we don't even have to use a payday loan at all. Um,
Hmm.
so, with that, another thing that, as we talk about tax refunds and investments, um, one of the things that people may not know is that you can actually, even though now the calendar has turned from 2025 to 2026, you can actually use your tax refund or any other money to invest in a 2025 IRA,
Hmm.
right? And so I wonder if you can talk a little bit about that, Damon, and how that works.
Well, if you need tax deductions, the IRS allow you to contribute to an IRA up to April 15th. That's the tax deadline. So if you haven't made your contribution to your IRA and you need a tax deduction, you can put your contribution for 2025 into an IRA up until April 15th and receive the tax deduction for that. So that's typically how that works.
Awesome, awesome. And with most borrowers, or I'm sorry, with most investors, you can actually put up to $7,000 into that IRA. If you're over 50, there's a catch up allowance
Yeah.
for additional $1,000, so you can put a total of 8,000 into that
Well,
IRA.
it's changed in 2026. It's 7,500 now for individuals under 50, and it's 8,500 for those that are over 50.
That's why we have you on here. Thank you for clarifying and correcting that. And so, and if you're doing that on your own, if you're going into your bank, your online banking, you just have to make sure that when you're making that selection, that you specify that it's for a 2025 contribution rather than 2026. Okay,
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
great.
You
So
definitely want to do that.
excellent, excellent. So we talked a little bit about making sure that you have your emergency savings first, right? So if you don't already have that in place, that could be a priority for your tax refund, right? If you're one of these
Yes.
people that's
Yes.
getting $3,300, and if you've done the math and your monthly expenses for housing, for food, for transportation, let's just say at a really light level, if it's around $2,000, and that's probably low for most of us, you want to have uh, six to $12,000 saved in an emergency fund. And so at 3,300, if you're one of those getting 3,300, put as much of that as you can towards your emergency savings if you haven't started. So maybe a third of it. Maybe you take 1,000 and get started with your emergency fund, and build from there. So that's the first thing. But then with investments, is there a percentage of a person's income that you would recommend that they commit to long-term investing?
Well, I always say that in my opinion, if you can do 20%, start high. 25%, start high. And if that is uncomfortable and you're not still able to meet your overall expenses, then you can always back down some. But start high. However, I'm a minister of the gospel, so we believe in tithing and offering things of that nature. But if you pay you pay your tithe at 10%, then pay yourself at 10% minimally. That's what you should be saving, at least 10%. But I would say start high, 25%. And if that's uncomfortable, you can begin to back down. But if you get consistent, what happens is once you just start doing it, it becomes old habit, and you don't even realize you're living off the the other 80%, if you will, and you're just consistently saving. But 20-25% is 20 or 25% is preferable.
That's good. That's good. What would you think about using that same percentage for a tax refund and maybe breaking down your tax refund using the same percentages? Would that make sense to you?
I would say that's a good idea. We talked about it earlier that if it, for instance, if you're going to designate where those dollars go, whatever position. If you need an emergency fund, you want to put some there. If you want to use the refund to pay off some debt, pay that off. My thought about paying off debt, if you can pay off any debt with your refund, and whatever that monthly payment has been to pay off that debt, take that and revert that to paying you with that. Now you already been comfortable paying it anyway, so now pay you, put it into a regular savings or investment every month versus paying any more credit, because you've already got rid of that with the refund. So utilizing some to start an emergency fund, utilize some to pay off debt, those are ideal. It's a personal decision based upon where you are. Everybody's situation is different, so it's based upon where you are.
I love it. I love it. So emergency savings is a good first step. Paying off debt is a good second step. So, because if you've got a credit card that is charging you 25% interest, when you pay off that debt, in essence, you are earning 25%. You're reducing your expenses of that 25% interest. And then, like you said, then you flip that, whatever you had been paying, you start paying that to yourself. So I love it. So emergency savings first, paying off debt, and then start to invest.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Okay, very good. I wonder if anybody is watching, if they have any questions that they want to put in the comment section. We'll try to address those. Okay, very good. Then if someone wanted to start their investment journey with you, Damon, how should a person get in touch with you?
Well, you can reach me by calling my office, which is area code 248-688-3667. That's my office number. You can reach my cell phone at 248-688-0600. That's my cell. Or you can email me at damon.drew@prudential.com. You also, I do have a Facebook page, and I do have a personal Facebook page and a business Facebook page. Just type my name in, and I'm on my business and my personal.
Awesome. Awesome. I just brought those up on the screen as well. Your business cell and your email address, so people can see those and reach out to you. Very good. And then with Project Green, we are always here in our community doing workshops on. We was just doing one last night, our Money Talk workshop on the basic of budgeting. We have our core curriculum, to which you referred earlier, which is D-Free, 12 Steps to Financial Freedom. We just started a session last Tuesday, so that's going on now. And then we have our Fresh Start Credit Builder, which is a way to help people get a secured credit card to begin their credit journey, or to rebuild their credit if it has had some damage in the past. So I encourage people to visit our website, projectgreengr.org, and you can see what some of these classes are that are coming up soon. And we'd love to get people connected. And the other thing that we do is some one-on-one financial coaching. And so that's where the rubber really hits the road, right? So we're able to talk about, as you said, everybody's situation is different, but we're able to talk to people about their own specific situation and to help create a pathway towards their financial goals. And so you can reach out to us about that as well. And one other thing I wanted to mention, as we talk about tax time and saving money, Project Green is one of the partner organizations with the VITA Coalition. VITA is the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance coalition here in Kent County, and I know that they're all over the country. But I encourage people to reach out to their local VITA here in Kent County. You would call 211, which is United Way, and they will talk to you about where those VITA sites are located and how you can make an appointment or walk in, and you can get your taxes prepared for free from an IRS certified tax preparer if you qualify. And most people actually qualify, whether they believe it or not. So if your household income is $68,000 or less, then you qualify to get your taxes prepared at these sites. And there's some more details to that breakdown. So don't just stop with this information from me, but call 211 to make a free tax appointment, and they can tell you more about the requirements. And if you don't qualify, tell your nieces and nephews, tell your cousins, tell your church members, tell them about it so that they can take advantage of it as well. Because a lot of people pay, hundreds of dollars to get their taxes prepared, and taking nothing away from those people that prepare taxes. I just, it's also just wise, like you said, Damon. Like if I can get down the road by paying a little bit less, why not take advantage of this great community resource? And my church is a volunteer site as well, Journey Church, and we're just so glad because there are millions of dollars that get returned to our communities each year through the tax credits and tax refunds that the VITA tax preparers help to complete. So I just can't say enough about that. And I hope that people are taking advantage of that as well. So I don't see any questions or anything popping up. Wait, there may have been one. No, okay. So Damon, any last comments from you as it relates to tax time or starting somebody's investment journey or anything else that you would want to share before we wrap it up today?
Well, I will say this, that in our communities, our urban communities, the importance of your tax refund is so important to retailers, but that they even advertise, come over here and get your taxes done over here, or come over here and cash your refund check. We're talking like your C&D lots. You're talking about some low budget furniture companies and things of that nature. They want your money. You have to force yourself to not go these places and think about what you need to do so you can get off that hamster wheel, if you will, so you can start doing something more efficient with your money. And connecting with Project Green or a financial advisor is vital to helping you do so.
Man, thank you so much for saying that. You're right. I think, we have to remember that retailers, they have a plan for your money. And so you got to have a plan for your own money. And you just reminded me of one of the thing, and we didn't talk about this up front, but I just wonder what your thoughts are. If the average person is receiving average person in Michigan is receiving maybe about $3,300 in tax refunds. What do you think about that? Like, should people be expecting and receiving a large refund year after year? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, first and foremost, the definition of a refund is that you overpaid, right? So what Uncle Sam does is you overpay them, and they take your money. They don't pay you any interest, and then they give it back to you, sometime throughout the next year. You can, if you work with a tax professional, you can look at how to adjust your tax deductions, deferrals, and credits in order to keep more of that money, and then take the additional savings in your cash flow and put it towards some investments while it's working for you. My rule of thumb is that you should have either a refund anywhere south of $500, or you owe just south of $500. Anything more than that is you're giving them a no interest loan to Uncle Sam.
Excellent. Yeah. So if we break that $3,300 down, if we divide that by 12, that's $275 a month that that person would have overpaid in taxes between federal and state. And so, how, and I know you said again, you're not a tax advisor, but just based on your personal knowledge, what should a person do if they every year if they've been getting thousands of dollars? How do you change that? What do you do?
Well, again, working with your tax advisor, you want to look at adjusting your deductions. Look at what ways you can adjust your deductions, either through the payroll system at work. Also, you want to look at what other things that you can contribute to. Are you contributing enough to a retirement account? What are ways that you can do? Can you do that to keep, it's just so many different things. If you're self-employed, what things are you not writing off? And then again, working with your tax professional, they can help you to readjust those numbers in order to get that down so that you can keep more in your pocket as opposed to giving it to Uncle Sam.
Excellent, excellent. We did get a couple of questions that have popped up. Let me address those really quick. So Justin asked, how long will this live be up for replay? Now, that last name is the same as yours. Do you know Justin?
That's my number 2 son.
Okay, all right. All right, excellent. So Justin, we don't plan to remove it from our social media sites once it goes up. So you should be able to see that indefinitely. Thank you for that question. Here's another question from Project Green's own Samika Douglas. She's our director of advocacy. She said, I don't know if it was touched on, but what's the difference between an IUL and just investing with your 401k or 403b?
Well, the IUL is an individual insurance account. So it's a life insurance, bottom line. It's an index universal life insurance. There are no tax deductions, deferrals, or credits for opening up one of those. It's designed, number one, for protection first and foremost, protecting your life, replacing income in the event that you passed away too soon and you need to have proceeds go to your beneficiaries. That's what an insurance policy does. But the investments inside an IUL, they grow tax deferred inside. So you have 2 aspects of an IUL. You have the living benefit and a death benefit. The living benefit is the cash value that's growing inside, and the death benefit is the face amount of their contract upon death. You get one or the other. Typically, you don't get both. The 401k, you're contributing to that, and it's growing. You get a tax deduction for contributing. It grows tax deferred. You're subject to what is called the 59.5 rule, so that you can't access those dollars before 59.5 without penalty. After 59.5, there's no penalty. However, you pay taxes over any distribution, which is ordinary income taxes, over any distribution from a 401k plan. And in the event you reach age 73 now without taking any money out in a 401k or IRA, the government says you must start taking monies out of this account by age 73 in what is called required minimum distributions. You'll hear the word RMD or the acronym RMDs. So the required minimum distribution affects 401k. It doesn't affect the IUL. So there's no tax deduction for contributing to an IUL, but there is a tax deduction for the 401k, and the IUL is a life insurance policy.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I did want to get a little update here from Justin. He said, I've never met that guy in my life. So I don't know. We got some conflicting stories here. Oh, he added LOL. All right. So I guess he's admitting to knowing you. All right.
Well, listen, Dallas, every time somebody knows him and they see me, they said, you Justin's dad. Never met me before. They say you Justin's dad.
Matter of fact, that's what Elena said here in the background, and he looks just like you. So good. Thanks for joining, Justin. While we were talking here, I saw a little notification pop up that I'm just going to share really quickly because it's so timely. That State Senator Sarah Anthony just posted something on her page as it relates to taxes. And I just thought that I should share this with you all. If I can, let me get to it. I just saw it here. Y'all hold on one second because you need to see this. All right, I'm gonna just do it this way. Um, so she just said you may qualify for the expanded earned income tax credit. Find out more at senatdems.com/EITC. Um, it's one of the largest tax breaks for working families in Michigan's history. So it reduces the taxes that you owe, putting more money in your pocket. Even if you do not owe taxes, listen, let me read that again. Even if you do not owe taxes, it could result in a refund. So I'm gonna say that I will say that another way. Even if you would regularly not need to file your tax return, even if you would regularly not even have to file your tax return, you should consider filing it if you qualify for the EITC because it could result in a refund. This extra income can help you care for your family, meeting living expenses, or save for the future. All the stuff that we just got done talking about. So I just wanted to put that out there. And thanks to Senator Anthony for posting that. So check that out at the website. Last thing, and then I'm gonna let you go. Did you see the Pistons whoop on the Knicks last night?
I didn't get to watch that, man, but the Pistons are hot, man.
Yes, sir.
Listen, man, listen, they done brought some excitement back to the D. I mean, the Lions, they a little teetering, but we have not seen where all the Detroit teams have been hitting on all cylinders at one time.
Yeah,
so
man.
we have the Pistons, the Lions, the Tigers didn't put out a ton of money. I'm expecting great things.
Yeah.
And then we also see the hockey, the Red Wings.
Yeah, the Red Wings,
so yeah, they're hot. Everybody's hot, but I haven't seen. I gotta catch a game, man. I gotta slow down and catch a game, man.
Well, it's so many of them, man. You can't catch them all, but that was definitely a great one last night. Cade Cunningham did his thing, and I think he planted his flag for on the MVP planet. So people were already talking about it, but after last night, I think that he may have risen to the top of the ladder. I had been saying Jokic for most of the season, but Jokic was sitting down for a while as he was healing, and I think in that time, man, Cade just eclipsed everybody. So Justin agrees with me there.
I opened up my Facebook page and I saw all down my page people were talking about Cade as an MVP, Cade MVP. So
yeah,
I need.
Oh, you hit mute.
There we go. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So I'm gonna enjoy the second half of the season, and we'll see what the Pistons. There's no limit, I think, to their season, man. There's nothing that they cannot do. So we'll see.
I don't know if they're tough as the bad boys, but the excitement level of what's happening with our the winningness, if you will, is back.
Yeah,
it's back.
It's back. It's back,
and it's good to see the coach Bickerstaff. Good to see him at the helm doing his thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Hey, man. Thanks for your time once again, and let me just put Damon's contact information up there one more time for people that may want to connect with him. There's his phone number and his email. And watch this video again if you're just catching it at the end. And hopefully you'll take some action steps. Reach out to us at Project Green. Matter of fact, last thing I'll ask people to do is put 2 or 3 things in the chat or in the comment section about what you plan to do with your tax refund, and let us know what that's looking like for you and your household. All right. Thank you, sir. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Everybody enjoy your payday.
Thank you for the invite, my brother. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Have a good day.
You too.